What's this house?
This house right here.
Yeah.
This house.
It's a Cadillac.
This is.
What's the one up there?
We buying a Bentley.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was
That's
gonna
a
say,
Bentley.
bought
That's a Bentley. And welcome back to the Riley Black Project, Crystal and John.
Hey.
Hi.
So we have a full house today.
We do.
We get to tell you the secret we've been holding.
Teasing for
So
months.
Beth and Griff from Buy Sell Divas Real
Hello.
Estate.
Hey.
What did they help us do?
We sold our fucking house.
Not only that. That's the least bit. The meat of it is we're moving to Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go be up next to Heather.
Which, yeah, I was gonna say, everyone who doesn't know where that's
Right.
where
A
that's
lot
at,
of people.
It's 2 hours north and it's 10 minutes away from Heather.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. And about half an hour from Eon?
From Eon, yeah.
Yeah, about half an hour. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we'll be up in that area. Super excited. Can't thank you guys enough
Yes.
Oh, you're so welcome.
for
Totally welcome.
helping us find and buy and all the craziness because
Yeah.
it's a lot getting
It's a lot.
us set up here.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And we fell in so
Wait. Okay, yeah. Hold on. So we
I
got to
was gonna
go
say, we
all the
gotta
way
tell the
back.
story.
all the way
So
back.
all the way
Okay.
back to March.
Okay.
So first it happened that, we've been thinking about moving from here for a couple years now. Just it's been in the back of our mind. Like we want to go somewhere where it's slower, where it's just not so populated
Yes.
and all of that, right? So anyway, then Heather moved from Philly to Vero,
Yes.
and
You guys probably already saw
that
our move.
process.
Yeah.
You guys probably saw this move coming
Right.
when that happened.
yeah, I'm
Exactly.
pretty sure I've been asked it several times. And then I was telling Heather, I was like, oh, I wish we could move, whatever. She was like, you can. She was like, and then one day it was like right after I think she had moved in, or right before. No, it was before. She
No, it
was
was
still
right
kind of like
before.
in transition.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she called
And-
you.
Well, she called me, she texted me and she goes, I gave Beth your number. She's waiting for you to call her or text her. She can come by today or tomorrow if you're ready. I was like, today or tomorrow? I was like, shit. Whoa, Heather.
Our house was not ready at all.
Oh, no.
So I called
Yeah.
5 minutes later.
Uh-huh. And I was like, hi. And she came over the next day. Our house was an absolute disaster. And I warned her of that
was
before.
not.
It was.
It was.
I
I can
Not as
see
bad.
past the
Not as
disaster.
bad as
Right.
others we've come to.
This is true. This is true. It's all relative to what you've seen.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser ready blanks.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser tested and laser approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte, anything matte, and I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
But with 2 kids and a business, it was, there was inventory
Perfect.
everywhere.
It's totally
and
normal because we
whatever.
have 3 kids in a business.
Right, exactly. So you guys get it, yeah. And so she was like, okay. And she's like, we were just talking about, the details, and we just thought she was just going to come look at the house, give us some advice, tell us what to fix and what not to fix. So that was the other thing too. We knew that the house needed a couple things to help, make it sell better.
Well, because there are things
You
that
had to declutter.
Right,
There's
well, and-
nothing else that we have.
Well, but we didn't
Right.
know.
But wasn't it
Right.
awesome?
We felt like, we were like, oh, we got to do this, do this. And she's like, no, you just box up some of your stuff and you'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she, pulled out the paperwork and, she was like, if you don't sell your house, like it's fine, but, just if, whatever. And I was like, oh, like it got real
fast. Yeah.
and we talked about like a potential like list date, and it was going to be early to mid-April, and the conference was at the end of April.
Right.
And that was just so
Right.
crazy prepping for that. I was like, I can't do both. I can't get the house together and prep for the conference.
That's right.
And so we got back from the conference. We were super pumped and motivated, from how that was. And then we went and visited Heather for the first time.
And help her
And
move.
yeah.
Help her
And
move
yeah,
stuff,
he helped Bud move a couple things in. And then, we just kind of like checked out the area.
Yeah.
And we went to a couple stores, and they were so nice and friendly. And we were like,
And we also
what's this?
went to some we saw some houses on Zillow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we just like drove by and like peeked
Yeah,
in the
looked.
window and
And yeah, there was a couple, but there weren't any that I was in love with yet.
Yeah.
I loved the area, and they were close, but they weren't quite there.
Right.
So we came back, and we knew we wanted to go there, but we weren't like super motivated yet.
Right.
And then we a couple weeks after that, we went up with you
Yes.
and actually like for real looked at
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
And
Those were some good houses. we
yes,
looked
they
at.
were.
Yeah.
And I had a list. She told me to make a list of my
We-
top 10
Your top
houses.
10.
we had a list before she told us. the
What?
top 10. We
Yeah,
had a
I
list.
just had
Yes,
to. I
but
had
you
to
had
pair.
a list of like
I had to pare
40.
it down
Yes,
to
yes,
10.
we did.
like
Yeah.
40
We had a
houses.
lot.
on
Oh,
that
like
list.
that one? We like that one.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that one.
I
Like
was
that
like,
one.
crap, how
Now,
am I
what's
going to use
crazy
10?
is think about it. There were 40 houses you liked.
Yeah,
We
Right.
narrowed it down to 10,
right,
and we knew which one was your
Yeah.
favorite.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
so then we were nervous because they were having an open house, and
Yes.
we're like,
Yeah.
shit, other people are going to come look at our house.
Right.
And it had already been on the market for like 20 something
I was going to
days.
say we were
Yeah.
heading towards 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And,
And
it was
so then we got their first house, of course,
Yes.
and we absolutely loved it. We're
the-
like,
from
oh
the
no,
minute
this
we
is
walked in.
this is it.
Yeah.
And
what did
it
I
just
say? We have to go look at
Yeah.
other houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so and we did, and
Yep.
I love looking at houses. We
Yeah.
joke that like we would love to be. I don't want to be a realtor, but if you need someone
Showings.
to go take your clients to
hired.
do showings, like let me know. I pay
Yeah.
me. I don't know whatever rate that is worth to you. Send me. I will take them to any. I love looking at houses, and so. Like I just like picturing myself in there and like seeing how other houses are like configured and so I didn't mind looking at more houses even though we
Except
had
for a
already
few
chosen the one we wanted.
There was a few we walked in and walked out.
Yeah.
Like ooh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, no, we're good.
They
Let's go.
pictured pretty well,
Man,
but then when you go in
they
there,
do
it's like
some they do some tricks.
yeah.
The blue house was
That one, yeah, that was so bad.
it was so bad.
So
It
But,
was so bad.
but once you commit to one in your head, it's already over.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It would take a monumental find
I mean,
for
although-
you to come off of that first one
Very
that
true.
you fell
Right.
in love
That's
with.
true. There
True.
were and we could the other ones were like we could make them work.
Well,
but
and
we're
it was
like
already-
we also don't want to
it-
don't want a house that we have to make work.
It was
you know?
already like at the top of it was our. We looked at it first because it was at the top of our list.
right.
It was the one we liked the most
Mhm.
just off of
Yes.
pictures, and
It was
had,
also the most expensive.
It was, and it had
Yeah.
everything that we wanted. It was
Right.
it checked every box.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it literally checked
Every single
Everything.
one.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Which in the long run will be priceless.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
So
So-
then so that was a Saturday,
that was.
and we were all like annoyingly giddy and like
Yeah.
just
And
wanted
also
it so bad,
and also worried because we went to look
hadn't
at houses and
we
we
weren't
even on
even
the
like
market.
listed. We
No,
still
We
had
weren't listed.
we-
We
no,
just
no, no,
wanted
wait,
to
wait.
see.
We still hadn't finished my checklist on your
right.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, you guys, if we're doing this,
Yeah.
we have to get
Yeah.
to work.
So we went home.
We got to work.
And Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and half of Wednesday,
Yep.
we busted our ass
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
and marked every single thing off of that list.
Yep.
yes.
We boxed up as much as we possibly could,
Yep.
and we
made your house look like a model home.
we did,
Yes.
yeah.
In
And
Yep.
literally
And every-
72
every-
hours.
every fucking time
We-
you do that too, you're like, why didn't I do this for myself?
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Because
it
the
was a
house
lot of
looks
work.
so.
That's
That's
what it
true.
was.
That's
It was.
exactly
That's
why
what
you don't do
everybody
it.
says. I say
Yeah.
that about our own house. I'm like, I'm gonna fix this up eventually to
Yeah.
sell our house.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Like in the last 10 years, I could have enjoyed it.
Uh-huh. And that's what we did at the Colorado house. We got a new roof to make it more like sellable, during the process, and we painted it. It
Yeah.
looked amazing. Like we decluttered, and we're like,
Man, this is a really nice house now.
Right.
We're gonna sell it.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was
then
the
Monday.
well, wait, we cleaned it all up, and we're like, man, did we do enough? Because we still see it through our filters.
Correct.
So we still see, even though it's clean, we still see what the clutter used to be there. So we're
Yeah.
like, did we do enough? It's not, well, we can't do any more. Like we have to list, because the house, after the open house,
Because time was
On
of the
Monday.
essence.
so the open house was Saturday
Yes.
and Sunday. By Monday, I guess they didn't get any interest in the
offers.
house, any
No.
offers.
No.
So they dropped it $10,000.
10,000. I was like, no.
So we thought,
I don't want to pay more, but I also don't want more attention to it
right.
either.
So we were like, for sure, this house is gone.
yeah.
But we got to keep our energy so that
Yeah.
the universe
Which
repays
is
us.
Right.
Exactly what
I'm
I said.
like,
If
if-
this is meant to be, it's
Right,
going to
exactly.
I know. I kept
And
telling
we-
him, I go, if it's meant for us,
Right.
it
It'll
will
be for us. Right. And if it's meant for us, it'll be held. The universe will
Right.
hold it for
Yes.
us.
right.
So we just got to put our part. So we continue to clean and everything like that.
Yes.
Well,
And
because
then-
even when it comes down to it, if we didn't get this house,
right,
we
were
wanted
gonna-
a house.
Right.
We were
Right.
going to list
Right.
anyway.
Right.
So
But we really wanted this
we
house.
yeah.
Tuesday, $2,000 more down.
It was Wednesday, but yeah.
That was the next day.
No, it was the
No,
day
it
of the
was Wednesday.
pictures.
It was Wednesday.
Mhm.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then they
the
dropped
day
it
of the pictures.
2,000.
Yeah.
And then
And
we were like,
both of you turned green when I walked in the
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
Because I was driving to you when the
Yeah.
right.
First we got
And
Yeah.
we were looking at the house every time.
He was looking
Yes,
at
I would click
couldn't
on the
look.
Zillow ad, hold my breath, and say, please don't say pending. Please don't say pending. Please don't say pending. For sale. We're still in the game. We're still in the game.
Yes. So this was Wednesday. We were
Yeah.
on our way to do photos
Yeah.
for you because I was like, we have
Have
to
to.
list.
Right. Yep.
How
Right.
am I going to get under contract
Right.
if we're not listed?
Right.
Right.
At
So-
least listed.
Yes.
Right. At
So-
the very least.
We did the photos. I called the agent. I told her we were sending an offer.
Yeah.
She was giddy.
Yeah.
I called you guys back and I'm like, we're signing right now. We're going to go under contract. And
Yeah.
you're like, no, we're not. I'm like, this is going to happen right
Well,
now.
first,
No,
first,
no,
she
Beth, you
strung,
didn't.
you strung us
You
out
didn't
all
tell us.
Thursday.
You had us over here like, are we under contract? Are we under
We
contract?
did.
Are we under
But
contract?
she's well, so we were under contract, and like we're like, so
Well,
any not under contract.
no,
we
We were waiting
Yeah.
to have this listed, right?
well,
No.
so we listed Monday
Oh, we
night
listed
or
Monday. Oh,
Wednesday
that's right. It
night
was
at,
Monday, yes.
at
She-
9 p.m.
The
Yeah.
agent
and
called
then
me
and then
and said
Thursday,
yes, but I didn't have a signature.
right, and but so she didn't tell us,
Right.
Because
and
I didn't have a
so
signature.
right,
Right.
of course, and so
I kept checking Zillow, and Zillow told on her before she told. I'm like,
It did.
oh, it's under contract. This better be. I was like, this better be our contract.
I'm like, question mark, I don't know.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a Chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's Chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more. Hey guys, thanks for watching and listening. If you'd like to support us monetarily now or in the future, here are a few ways.
You can join us on Patreon and reach out to us to run ads on the podcast.
For only $20, by the way.
Only $20.
You could also buy a file from my Etsy shop, some keychain accessories from my website, the course to learn some file designs, or explore one of my partnerships with either Eon or Pyburn.
Yeah, and you can find all those links on our Facebook group. That's the Riley Black Project.
To support us for $0 a month, you can share the podcast with your laser friends, subscribe to our YouTube channel, interact with our content, share, like, comments. What else?
And subscribe and leave a review on our Apple podcast.
Mhm.
And then follow us on social media. That's Facebook and Instagram. The
We
Riley Black
appreciate-
Project.
Yes, we appreciate your support so much. We have big dreams of John joining
Yes.
us full time, and anything that you can do monetarily or for free to help us get there, we
Yes.
appreciate it so much. Yeah, and so we kept asking. She's like, and well, she called us for something else. I think probably about like all the showings we had in our own house.
Right.
And I was like, so any word on the other house? And she was like, nothing yet. And I was like, Beth, give me something. And she was like, I've been talking to them all morning. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that's
We'll
enough.
take
Oh, yeah,
That's,
we were waiting
that's
for the
enough
ink.
for me.
Uh-huh.
We
Yeah.
were waiting for the ink.
Yeah, and then he sends her a screenshot because he was checking like every 30
Yeah.
minutes, I swear. And then he saw it say under contract, and he sent her a screenshot of it saying under contract, and he was like question mark, and she was like,
No.
and I'm like,
This
tell
better
us.
be our house.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was so nerve wracking,
It was
but
nerve-wracking.
oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then so we had 6 scheduled showings for Thursday,
Yes.
and
Of
then
this house.
only 3 showed up, and I was like, fuck. And I mean, I'm all frustrated because I'm sitting there like making sure I'm not getting too in depth in work so that I can make sure that like
Yeah.
I'm flexible, I can go outside if they want me to, or
Yeah.
I'm waiting on people.
Yeah.
And so when people don't show up when you're waiting on them,
It
it's
was
like, what the
crazy.
fuck? And then because they were the prime time showing times.
Yeah.
I had to stop showings at 5 p.m. because I have to go get the boys.
Yes.
Right.
And so, there was only so many appointments available. So I was like mad at these people who like took appointments from like other people who
Yeah.
maybe would have wanted to
I
come.
know.
And then there was even people who like begged for an extra appointment and then still didn't show. And
I
I'm
know.
like,
Yep.
"Dah." I was so frustrated. And I was like, let me chill. It's okay. Let me chill. And then as soon as we heard that we were under contract, I was like, okay. On the house
new
we
one.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then by Thursday evening, we had received 2 offers
Yes.
on our house.
Yes.
Oh, and something that we forgot to mention in the beginning was that when she came and saw our house in like March time, we asked her what she thinks, we could probably list it for. And she told us $399.
Right.
And, we're like, or $399, $99, whatever. And we're like, oh, okay, we were really hoping for like at least $415, but we still make money there. So,
Yeah.
it's fine. And she's like, she's like, if you really declutter and do all these things on the list, I feel like we could do $415, but it really
Right.
depends on the market at the time and whatever. So we listed, a couple months after that?
Yes.
I think it was like
March.
it-
Yeah, 2 months later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 months later,
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
When did you get back from the conference?
Early April. So we actually ended up listing it on time, which we wouldn't have listed it. So it was mid-April because we wouldn't have listed it on time had we not gone to see that house and
Yes.
busted our ass.
Right.
Correct.
Because we were totally dragging our feet.
Yeah.
Because I found a couple houses that we liked, and then that we had like a list of like 5 that we were in love with. They were all gone by then.
Yep.
Right.
And so all the new ones that were coming up were like, ugh. And I was really nervous about putting our house on the market because I knew how fast it was going to go. Because I had been looking at houses in our area, and they weren't nearly as nice as ours.
No.
So I knew that it was going to go fast.
Yeah.
And I was scared of it going so fast and then not
homeless.
falling in love. Exactly.
Right.
And not falling in
Or
love
having
with
to
something
settle
up there.
for a house
Right.
because we needed a house.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
having to downgrade, because that's not what we want to do either, because I mean, the fact is our interest rate increased 4 points. So
I
like
know.
this needs to be a house that we absolutely love and that is worth
It
it,
is.
Yes.
because like we are sacrificing a little bit as far as that goes,
Right.
And that's why you need a hustler like Beth,
right,
because
exactly.
we have to work 2 ends of each deal.
right.
We have to keep the other customer selling their house happy
Right.
through their agent, and we
Right.
have to be able to communicate everything we're doing here to show we're going to fulfill our contract up there.
Right. Right.
And then at the same time, we have to be on top of your buyers to
Mhm.
make sure they're going to fulfill
Because
their
if
obligations
they
to you
mess up,
guys.
it messes up
Yeah,
our
it's
deal.
a
Right.
huge,
Right.
huge
So-
domino effect.
And remember, we went under contract with them up there before we
Before
were
we
actually
even had,
listed.
yeah.
We weren't
Yeah.
live yet.
Yeah,
Mm.
Beth was able to
Mm.
negotiate them accepting it on
Yeah.
our promise.
Mm.
Wow.
So which I didn't disclose any of that to
Yeah.
you because
No.
it was way too much stress.
Right,
Like
yeah.
I'm not going to blow your minds with that.
Right.
So the night that we all signed the contract here,
Right.
Yeah.
I sent it off.
Yeah.
I spoke to her about 10 times.
Mm.
So I called her. I explained, you
Right.
know, we're looking forward to,
Yeah.
you know, going under contract. And,
Right.
you know, of course she came back with, oh, well, we have multiple offers. So I threw
Right.
that right out the window. Yeah,
Right.
sure you do.
Oh, yeah,
Otherwise you
no,
wouldn't have dropped the price.
That's why you dropped
I
the
think-
$12,000.
I think I say that continuously.
So with that being said,
Don't tell anybody.
with that being said, I said to her, look, I give you my word, we will be under contract this weekend.
Yeah.
We will close on time.
Yes.
I immediately pivoted and got the mortgage broker on the phone with her.
Yeah.
She spoke to her clients, the sellers
Right.
of
Yeah.
the house that you're
Mhm.
buying.
Yeah.
They went back and forth. She called again. I answered all of her questions, went
Right.
back and forth again,
Yeah.
reached out to our mortgage broker,
Right.
Todd.
Well, and
spoke to him.
thankfully, like we looked great on paper too, as far as, you know, having the pre-approval, like having done most of
We
the
went
paperwork.
with an
Like we're putting like a
extremely-
huge chunk down, like,
Yes,
you
we
know,
went in with an extremely
we're
strong
serious
offer.
about this.
And
Yeah, and showing
She
seriousness
knew. Yeah.
makes things
Like,
happen.
right.
But a lot of agents don't know enough to tell their customers, like,
Mm,
we have to be serious and make
Right.
for real
right.
for them to accept the offer.
Right.
Because like if we
So
were
I
the
had
other
to prep
people,
her.
we would have been like, if you only have part of what you need done,
Right.
and like there's no strong commitment and you're not getting
Right.
the mortgage guy involved,
Right.
like I'm like, I can't get
Yeah.
you with my current customer because
Right.
I feel like you're gonna injure them.
Right.
So, you know, it's going to be, you know, hey, guys, if you do want this offer, you got to be really careful. There's another offer here. You might want to consider that.
More stable
and
or-
yeah, and
right,
it's more
yeah.
stable. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but by having all those foundations, that's what happens. That's what allows the whole transaction to take place. I mean, because
Right.
we were scattered across 3 contingencies of major transactions.
Right.
The buyer here,
Yeah.
your sell,
Right.
and then you buying.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And
then also
all
our
the-
post occupancy on
And-
top of
oh,
that.
yeah. So like all
Right.
like so just so many contingencies just
Right.
make for like, you know, we had 100-point checklist every day.
Well,
to-
and
to
speaking
maintain.
of contingencies, Heather went through literal hell
Oh, yes.
to get her house.
Yes.
And like she had the clear to close. And then
No,
when
we had the clear to close
yeah.
on Monday. Our closing was for Tuesday,
yeah,
and something went wrong between Monday and Tuesday with the mortgage broker,
right, with the company.
with the company itself,
Right.
and they pulled
And,
everything back.
Yeah.
And so for those
Started asking for blood samples. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it
no,
seems
yeah,
like,
they-
like
they needed a
they,
blood sample.
they
Yeah.
asked
Um,
And we
for
need hearing blood
every-
samples.
every
So Heather and I did not sleep for 4 days.
right.
Her and I went to work. Literally, I have never sent so many emails in my life, made
Yeah.
so many phone calls.
And she was literally homeless for a
Uh-huh.
week.
Yep.
We put her in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then other people helped out. And
Right.
we got
Yeah.
her a place to stay,
Yeah.
and the family and the dogs and
Right.
the cats. And
Yeah, because that was the other thing. They drove from Philly to Florida with 3 generations. Her mom,
Yes.
her and Bud,
and the baby.
their 5-year-old, 2 dogs, and 2 cats.
Mhm.
Yep.
And the fish.
And fish.
Yes,
It-
and everyone survived.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
was alive.
And-
We
and
made it
This is
happen.
how intense it was. We actually, between LinkedIn and getting some other people, we got the CEO's cell number
Yes.
of a
Wow.
national mortgage company, which we do not recommend ever.
Right.
Which that'll be a whole
I
nother
called
video.
him.
Right.
We were on the phone with him.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Wow.
This-
Repeatedly.
that,
Yeah.
that was how intense
It was so
I mean,
bad.
Beth sat on these people 24 hours a day
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
like,
almost
called him at
5, 7
10:30 at
days.
night.
Yeah.
We were calling them
4 days.
nonstop. It got to the point where
4 days.
It
um,
felt like 17.
they finished the
Felt like-
I
process.
was just on the other side, and it felt like
And but That's the thing. Like, so without somebody with the experience and tenacity of us and Beth, like,
it wouldn't have gone
there's
through.
no way it
No.
would have just
Right.
been dead. They would have been
Yeah.
homeless, and
Yeah.
you
And
know,
lost
who
all the
knows?
money.
Right.
Or it would have lasted a lot longer.
No, it
Right.
couldn't
Yeah.
have though.
Oh,
Well,
That
okay.
was
Well, the
we
problem
had,
was
we had deadlines.
because there were so
Well, they would have
many
lost any money
people
because
in
the
line.
mortgage would have.
Yeah.
We would have
Right.
been able to back them out. They were protected there, which
Yeah.
is like,
Right.
make sure you're.
But there
But-
were 5 families affected by
Oh,
her not closing.
okay.
Yeah.
But here's the worst part: because the other agents were not doing their job,
Yeah.
the house that Heather was buying, that seller was purchasing another home.
Right.
Okay, that agent did not communicate with any of the other agents.
So all the
wait,
other ones have
I-
no idea.
No
No.
idea. She
Yeah.
called me.
So
She found me on Facebook. And
Oh my
called
God.
Me and
Mhm.
said to me, calls me on it was Thursday afternoon and says, Beth, what is going on? No one will give me information. So I stayed on the phone with her for about 45 minutes. I explained everything. I was able to renegotiate her deal so that she didn't back out on the person who's buying it, which is the seller of
Yeah.
Heather's house.
we literally
Right.
ended up absorbing
so I took
the
that
other transaction, like just as
and held
counsel
her hand.
Yeah.
to help them because their
Wow.
So
their
that
agent
the
was-
whole thing didn't
was
just
absolutely
all
worthless.
fall
Yeah.
apart.
Yes, because she had the option to cancel at that moment.
Oh.
And I begged her not to. I
Right.
gave her
Right.
my word that we would get to closing, and we did.
Right.
And I knew we were going to. I just
Right.
needed.
You just had to get through the trenches.
I just had to get
Yeah.
24 more
Right.
hours, and we
Right.
got to closing.
Yeah.
But her agent did not communicate that with
Yeah.
her. Her agent didn't call me. Didn't call the other agent. Didn't
Right.
do anything. Just
No.
left this poor lady who was now moved in North Carolina, had
Oh my
already packed
God.
up her home
Gone,
and
moved
left
out.
Oh,
and is now has no money and has
Right.
no communication with her agent and has
Oh
no
my
clue.
God.
And she
Wow.
literally she was crying on the phone.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
didn't
it was
know what she was
so
going
scary.
to do.
Right.
She didn't know what she was going to do. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm in a hotel. All my stuff is in a pod.
Right.
Where am I going to go?
Right.
I have no money. She's like, I've sold everything in my
And-
Right.
life.
And the
you
worst
know.
part
Well, and they had
was
sold 2 houses.
the worst-
They just like
the worst part was we do like the full due diligence, right?
Right.
Like we're in communication with the mortgage company from minute one.
right.
And all the words and signals they gave, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And at the very last minute,
Just
this is
kidding.
going in for an additional review
Yeah.
and we want your blood samples.
Right.
And you're just like, excuse me? Like this has never
What- yeah.
happened in 20 years of this.
Well, and
Like,
I
Right.
told her like we're about to list, and I'm like I'm terrified.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
scared.
So
But-
we
but-
wound up finding out that they had audited their own company. There
Yeah.
was an audit that took place.
And they,
within
like,
that mortgage
they
company,
made her
and
the
they-
example for this employee.
Apparently
well,
they
yeah.
did
So,
Yeah.
so
several.
supposedly the
Mm.
loan officer or the
Underwriter.
The underwriter officer-
Underwriter.
was like removed from the facility and kicked out immediately. So
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
there's some
So
kind
there was
of
something
Right.
that must have
some kind of
happened.
theft
Right.
of data and information, and
right.
then they kicked them out. So I think they were reviewing all their files for fraud.
And they were
Yes.
running them
And
through
we just
like with
happen to be in
fine tooth
this
combs. Yep.
idiots batch of
Path.
files.
Yep.
So because anyone else, it would have just been over with. But,
Right.
but that's where like we have. It doesn't matter what mortgage company you use, but we have like our pocket people that we know get the job done no matter what.
Right.
And so like the first phone call was, all right, backup loan rescue. Like
Mm,
Mhm.
yes.
let's get
yeah.
one of our
Which
people.
was your mortgage broker.
Right.
that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
used.
And they are amazing.
So it's
they have been.
we know
like,
we can
a
get
pleasure
somebody
from the
if they have
beginning.
their paperwork in order. Like we can get them rescued in
Right.
what?
7 days, I think you said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
7
between
days.
5 and 7 days.
5 and
But-
7 days. So we can
Uh-huh.
have an answer in 5 days sometimes, starting from
Right.
scratch.
Right.
So, but like having those resources available, like
Yeah.
if that loan did not end up, and we started the loan rescue immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we can't wait
Yes.
to see if the other ones are going to
Right.
come
No,
through.
because then
So
we
so-
had too much time.
So on
yeah.
minute
For that
one,
Friday.
they have reapplied with the new rescue company
Right.
of their choice.
Yep.
And that process is underway because you can't wait. Like time
Right.
is of the essence to
Yeah.
where there's no more waiting. So
Right.
we're going to give them the 5. We got our extensions. We're
Yeah.
going to give this current company
Mhm.
the same time frame of
Right.
the extension, and then at the same time, ours is going to be coming in to save it right at the same time.
Mhm.
So like we have to coordinate 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
Right.
Just for the mortgage.
Right.
Yeah.
On top
Right.
of communicating this along with all the other people in the chain of communication.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
it's-
It
You know,
was.
Yeah.
and
It
at
was
that moment,
intense.
emotions are running high. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So between that Monday And that Friday, I had spoken to the seller of the house that she was buying
Right.
multiple times.
Right.
Got him back in on playing the game.
Yeah, because he was like, no, I'm
because
done.
he was done.
Yeah.
Spoke to the house that he was purchasing of this poor lady
Right.
that no one communicated with.
Yeah, that's how
Was-
far down the chain it goes.
Like,
We're talking to a third party in the
And there's still
transaction
more.
Oh,
that
there's-
already has representation
Right.
that doesn't do a good job either.
Right.
And then
Right.
we have to communicate with them everything, and then
So that they don't
fully
back out.
understand.
Yeah.
So we kept everybody
Yep.
calm.
Because then
Everybody
it'll snowball.
is a giant snowball, and
Yes.
it just literally like that's
Yeah.
how far. And if you have
Yeah.
somebody that's not competent, like it just falls
Right.
apart
Yeah.
in minute
Yeah, it's
one.
done.
So
Yeah.
instead, it's
Wow.
automatically rescuing the loan, we're
Yeah.
rescuing the buyer, the seller, and then we're rescuing the seller's purchase.
Right.
Right,
You know?
because now remember,
Yeah.
she's waiting to close
Right.
on a house in
So
North
that she-
Carolina
right.
so she
She
can have
can-
a place
right.
to live.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of her money right now is
Was
nowhere.
nowhere,
Oh
right.
my
So-
God.
So like,
It's just really disappointing that the other people
Yeah.
get paid for doing
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we did the work for all three people.
Right.
And,
To
and
close one house.
so close
Yeah.
one
yeah.
house.
And then we get
Yes.
thank you calls from the third party customer.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much for taking care of all this and let us buy your house.
Right.
And you're just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
at the same time, give
Does
me a
that-
review.
Does that
Right.
thank you
Really
come-
cool doesn't pay the
Yeah,
bills.
right.
So.
Right. And it's like, but like literally like really cool. Like, how about slap me like at least a
Right.
lunch because
Right.
like, we literally made your dream come through, third party remove,
Exactly.
which we don't
right?
mind. You know, it's all part
Google
of the thing.
review, please.
But
Right.
yeah, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like there's just
Yeah.
100 facets to every transaction,
Right.
and just without it all in place and without the
Yeah.
experience, it just
Well, and like,
that's
so
why
having
realtors
that,
get a bad name.
yeah, having that as our recent experience.
Right, we
Obviously,
were-
you
we
like
were
in the
pretty scared.
trenches, but me like supporting my best friend from
Oh.
the side.
Absolutely.
And we know Heather, and she can be a little hard to support when she's stressed out. And so you literally have to walk her away from the edge many
all
times,
the
and you're like,
tears are horrible.
oh,
the
it's
phone-
just,
times.
it's
Yeah.
it's horrible. And she's like,
Horrible.
I'm homeless, I give up. Like, and it's like, no, it's gonna work out.
I
It's
mean, it's
okay.
not
Like,
for-
I promise.
It's not for
Like,
less.
Oh no, yeah.
It's completely. It's
It's
not like
100%
overreacting. It's
under-
all- yeah.
understandable.
It's 100%
Yeah.
and like I
reasonable.
wanted to
Yeah.
fix
I would be
it, and
surprised
then
if it didn't happen.
yeah,
You know, I
I-
would be
I
concerned.
felt guilty because I'm like,
if somebody got
part of
that
the reason she came to Florida was likely because of me, and I was like, fuck,
hey,
Yeah.
now you're
go
the,
back to yeah,
now
right,
you're the reason she's
Well,
moving.
But that's
And
the other
so-
thing is 24 hours a day. Like the phone's on, no matter what time
Right.
you call with us.
yes,
Like
Yeah.
we're in the middle of the biggest
Right.
transaction for most people financially
Yeah. Right.
and
Yeah,
emotionally
it's
and
terrifying.
mentally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're consuming their life for 2 months of
Right.
moving and tearing everything
And
they
how
know
many
upside
times have
down.
we spoken at 9:30?
yes,
Oh,
10?
yeah.
all the time, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
It's on.
yeah.
I'm
it's,
here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on. And the other part is
Yeah,
it's
we're
like
texting you at like 12:30,
we're just
and
as
then you're like
involved
either
emotionally
texting
as
us
you
back,
are.
right,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
like I get to like kind of turn it off.
right,
But
a
at the
little
same
bit,
time,
yeah,
it's like, you know, the other problem is when we end up with a client, it's because we want them as clients.
Right.
We
Right.
don't have to take clients we don't want.
right, yeah,
We're in a good position with 30 years of being
yeah.
professionals.
Right.
We get to pick and choose.
I've talked about that a few times just in like the laser business. The when I knew I made it, when I knew I was good was when I could
Say
So,
no.
take
no.
orders exactly, say
Right.
no, and only
Yep.
take the orders and the jobs that I wanted,
Yes.
not that I had to have. Because in the first year or two, I felt like I
You
couldn't say
take
no to
everything.
anything.
Yeah.
And then you beat yourself up and you're like, this fucking sucks, and this
Yes.
is horrible. But then I mean those ones that sucked also taught me what I wasn't going to do anymore. So it was definitely it was so worth it because it was still like
Absolutely.
a lesson. It still taught me like what I do want to do and what I don't want to do.
yeah,
But yeah.
by us, like when we decide to have
Mhm.
a customer as a client,
Right.
it's like we like you and
Right.
we connect. And
Right.
so within,
Almost a little bit more pressure.
well, it becomes personal
Right.
because it's you're screwing
The-
these people
right.
I've come to
Their
love
lives,
over the
yeah.
last 2
Right.
months.
Right.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I even met. I mean, only hearing you through second party like speakerphone talk
With Heather.
with Heather.
and it was like I was ready to get on a plane, find the CEO, and
She
grab
told me, she's like, I'm talking Griff. She's
And-
like, I'm telling Griff to not get in the car.
and it
and
was
go.
like it was like, where's my 2x4?
Right.
And, you know, if I could hit him with it, it only cost me $100,000. I might do it. But like, it's like, you know, you become so emotionally attached. You know, that's
Yes.
another part of
So
this job that stinks. Like,
invested.
we
Yes.
love you guys, and like now you're
Right.
moving away. Like, oh, like I want to hang out and come do this again.
Right.
Like right
You
for
can.
3 months. Like,
We're only
Yeah.
2 hours away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
For now.
For now.
We will be moving north.
Yeah.
Well,
but-
it started a trend.
I mean,
Yeah, so you know, having all that and like it's personal. So we're
Right.
we're not holding your hands. We're in there with
Right.
you. Like
Right.
we're crying and like I can't
Yeah.
believe this. And,
right.
And just
And
literally.
also celebrating.
Yeah.
And also
Oh
celebrating
my
the
gosh.
wins.
oh,
So
Well,
now back
Yeah.
to your win. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
so Heather, we had just gone through all of us in different ways the
Yes.
trauma
of
Heather's.
Heather's deal.
and then we have ours. And yes, obviously there was a lot of work behind the scenes,
Yes.
and there were some annoyances and like tiny little snags, but like how
Smooth.
seamless were
Perfect.
both
Yeah.
of those?
This is how
We closed
99%.
early
I know.
on both of them.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
Now again, there's stuff that went on that you guys
obviously
had
for sure.
no
Yeah.
That's what I
idea.
was saying.
Right.
Like there, there's obviously
Right.
some things
You're
behind
never
the
supposed
scenes.
to know that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's
I
my
mean, you can
job.
tell us now though.
Oh, can I? Oh, do you really want to know all those?
Oh
phone calls
yes,
to get closed early?
100%. If you can say, like,
Well,
if
some
you
of
can say, so, yeah,
some of it might
legally,
be.
yeah, legally, illegally, tell us when we're done recording. But yeah, I mean, I love all that.
Don't know if
the
he's
juicy-
listening right now.
Right? No, you never do.
You never know.
So tell us that afterwards. But yeah, I mean, it went like generally like
Oh, it went
Yeah.
easy.
And
yeah,
99% of my percent of my transactions are this smooth.
right.
Heather was just the exception to the rule
Right.
because of those circumstances.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was just a snowball.
But even
Yeah.
then, I mean, like
That was
so
something out of your control too.
my friend helped us sell buy and sell our Colorado house.
Oh yeah, like by Sell Diva.
and she, there's a lot of times there's even like things outside of your control, and like
Yes.
we were the house we bought out there was like a HUD home, so like you're dealing with like literally the state and like
Right.
Completely
and then
different type of
and the
transaction.
seller or the buyer of our Colorado home was difficult to deal with, and so there was a lot of like back and forth and like and he was a contractor, so he walked into the house like
Knowing
seeing all the
everything.
things that he wants to fix and all
Right.
the things that are wrong, and it's like, and we're leaving the house knowing that we bought a HUD home that nobody else fucking wanted,
Yeah.
and
you
put
fixed
like
it.
blood, sweat, and
Yeah.
tears into
Right.
that shit.
Yeah.
And he literally comes in and like shits on it, and we're like, "Oh, bye, like go away."
Yeah.
And we have talked about how that house got its karma. It got him back. I don't know if we told. I don't think we told her. Did we tell her that story?
No, I don't think. But the house
Oh.
almost killed him.
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah, when
He was
Several
taking down.
times.
He was taking down a mirror, and it like severed like a main.
Artery in
my
his
God.
back.
And if it wasn't because
If
it wasn't because his wife
who,
was in
or
the
his
medical field,
girlfriend, she was a veterinarian,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and she was
Oh.
home.
She
And
knew to
normally she
squeeze-
wasn't home.
She knew to squeeze
She
the
had to
artery.
do a
Yeah.
tourniquet
Tourniquet.
immediately because
And
he was like
called
bleeding
and-
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
my
got chills again. But
God.
yeah. So, and that was the third thing that happened to him.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He had been injured 2 more times before that.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, we
so-
well, we have we
No,
have we won't
Gertrude
share
did
it.
not like him.
We won't share it, but we have firsthand accounts of lands that would be considered sacred
Yeah.
by a lot of people where they ended up building houses.
Oh
And
God.
the amount of deaths in certain neighborhoods, we won't even go in there.
Right.
We won't
Wow.
take
I
a
won't
listing
take
in
a
there.
listing.
Right.
I won't have any form of anything with it
Oh my
because
God.
it is. I mean, one
Yeah.
neighborhood alone,
Mhm.
the 3 project managers all had a weird death over a year,
Whoa.
and
Whoa.
that's in Broward County.
You don't want to
That's
be the
crazy.
4th project manager.
right. I mean, this is for a development that was still being developed,
Right.
and this
This
is
is years ago.
10 years ago was when the deaths happened, and you're just like.
Wow.
And then we had a beautiful client from 20 years ago
Uh-huh.
that moved from South Broward up to there and bought a house in there.
Mhm.
And the minute they did, it was like out of a movie. The bad karma that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, right
Weird
down to
stuff.
ended up in jail. and
Whoa.
illnesses
Wow.
and sicknesses
Yeah.
from everybody in the
Well,
house.
I mean, so
And it's just the same place where the 3 other people had horrible, weird, tragic, like
So
driving a golf cart to go
yeah.
check on a house and
Yeah.
like a tree fell and killed the one person. Like,
wow.
and,
That's
like,
like Final Destination.
Yeah.
It was exactly like that.
Well, so our
And
house, we always joked, we felt like something
So,
was like
yeah, just
there, but it didn't feel
when
like
your hair stands up, just walk
Yeah.
away.
exactly.
next
So
house.
we in our house, I felt like there was something there, but it didn't ever feel like threatening.
Okay.
And so, and
It's like
you know,
a whole
I won't
nother
talk
podcast.
too much about it because we've already talked about it because it was a whole
Right?
thing.
I mean, I could go on for hours with a
but
bunch
like-
of stuff we've had.
And so like I would never go, it had like a garden level basement. I would never go down there when it was dark, like either late at night or early in the morning, because
In the
that's where the
back
washer and
rooms.
dryer was. And my craft room is in the back of the house. I never used it as a craft. I would go, it was basically storage. I'd go get the crafts I need and bring them out, and like, I didn't really know why. It wasn't
just
like ever
did.
like a super conscious feeling. It was like I just
It
did.
was just someone else's
Yeah,
space.
it was just-
Like,
exactly.
you don't want to
And,
encourage.
like, oh, he came to come out here to buy this house, to look at it and view it.
Oh yeah,
the same person.
The,
No, me,
No,
me,
him.
me, me. I came by
oh,
myself.
so-
when
I was
he
like,
came
oh,
by,
what do you
he
mean?
came by himself because we couldn't, both of us, we couldn't afford to go, whatever. And while he was here, an alarm was going off in the
that had
house
never.
that had never gone off
Gone
at
off.
midnight. I had just gotten the baby down and I couldn't turn it off. I'm panicking. I'm about to call the cops because I just don't know what to. I'm calling him. He had just gone to sleep. He doesn't know how to help me from
Right.
2,000 miles away.
Well,
Oh.
especially since I didn't know what this alarm was.
Yeah.
Because so the
But
house
you're like
had
the tech guy. What do
right.
you mean
Well,
you don't know
because
what it
because
is?
still
the
gotta know
house,
what
There was
Yeah.
random
the house had an alarm,
alarms,
but it
in
was
there.
unplugged.
It was disconnected.
yeah, I
I
had
unplugged
unplugged.
it
the
and it
old
didn't
battery
stop.
just shorted and it decided to.
I unplugged
go
it.
off.
No,
It wasn't plugged
no.
in.
I think wasn't it
It
the
ended
water
up
alarm?
being a water alarm that we had just installed.
So
that-
we
But
didn't.
the problem was it was so loud that when
Uh-huh.
I would get close to it, it literally would hurt. So I couldn't get close enough at first to figure out where it was coming from. Because again, I'm stressed, anxiety is high, and
Yeah.
I get closer, and it like literally would just like
Rattle your
panic.
ears.
Yes, it would like panic me,
Yeah.
and then
Oh my
eventually I figured it out. And yeah, so
Oh my.
even though we had installed it, we didn't know what it sounded like. You
No.
can't like
Right.
it's a water alarm, so
And
we
it
couldn't
was
test
one of those things
Like-
so we had in her craft room back there was like this mysterious water seepage.
Yeah.
There
we
were
would
no-
all of
there
a
were
sudden
no
we'd see
pipes
mold
back
or
there.
something,
There was
Yeah.
nothing, but the carpet
or we
was
see
wet.
wetness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
And we're like, what the
Gertrude,
fuck, from where?
I don't know
Like-
how Gertrude. That's the spirit. That's what I named
that's
her.
what he named her.
Jack Closing.
That was our
Gertrude. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
So it was wet in that closet, and we're like, "Where's it coming from?" We we had somebody come in. They opened a hole in the drywall.
Uh-huh.
They're like, "There's no pipes back here.
Couldn't find
There's
anything.
nothing. There was
Nothing.
no moisture around it. Have no idea where the water was coming from." So they said
taking a shower.
the
Right?
only
So
thing they
who
can
knows?
think of
Yeah.
is that because that closet shared a wall with where the AC is.
Uh-huh.
And then the drip, the drip pan and everything is right there.
Yeah.
So because there's a drain there,
It
so
was
they
random.
thought
It was
maybe
like
that
yeah,
flooded and went that like maybe the grading is going that way instead of this way.
yeah, because it was right behind the like utility closet.
All of this
Wow.
is just them saying maybe.
So we put
So
one of the alarms
they
so
told
we
us to
could
put a
try and
water
like
alarm.
figure out,
So that if it's leaking again, we catch it
Yeah.
right
And
away.
there it was.
And then another thing that happened. So the day, but this is another reason why I've been very paranoid about this house, is the day before we were
So
going
glad
on
you're
the
telling me
market.
this now.
Right, the day before we were
Well, there's
going on the
nothing here. This
market.
place is clean.
Yeah,
I had not one ounce of hair
the
stand
day
up.
before we went on the market, an old wire outside that was not to code. It was not made to be outdoor wiring.
in
Colorado caught on fire.
Oh
And
yeah.
we went
What?
outside, and there's literally a black smoke mark this
So
big
So that house
above
was,
JR's window.
Because we
mind
were
you.
selling it.
Oh
And
my.
It
we had
liked
just
you.
painted the house.
that house liked you
so
guys.
we had to,
Mhm.
it
They
did.
were
It was pissed that we were
petrified.
leaving.
that you were selling it to
Yes.
that
Yep.
loser.
Yes.
Or just selling it.
And
Just, we're
then-
just selling it. Period.
Yeah, because he didn't even exist yet.
Yeah.
And so then we had just painted the house. So now we had to get rid of the unsafe wiring. We had to repaint it again because obviously red flag for a buyer. And then the day before our inspection,
Uh-huh.
the basement flooded.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
And it was soaked. And it was like, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad we weren't part of that one.
Yeah. No.
It was,
No.
yeah.
So at closing, I told them, I was like, after everything was signed and everything, I'm like, all right, cool. So, by the way, Gertrude doesn't like parties at night. And she doesn't like when you make loud noises at night. So just keep the noise to a minimum at night, and Gertrude
It's
will
just
treat
like
you
me and
nice.
Zeus.
And not little did I know, Gertrude was gonna try to kill this guy.
Right.
Oh,
She didn't like him.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah,
It's
Whoa.
crazy.
yeah, that was
That's
Whoa.
crazy.
So we have
My
that.
mind is blown.
We have that
I think
experience,
that's
and then we came here,
trademarking
and I'm-
ghoststoryrealestatepodcast.com.
right? Totally.
Actually, that's a great series.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd be in on that. But yeah, so it was just that you bring in all of your previous experiences, and you're just like you have to have like 17 stars align in order to pull it all off,
Oh,
and it
it's
happens every
at a
day.
minimum,
But like
yeah.
it's just it's
So it does happen
nerve-wracking.
every day,
yeah,
but it's not easy.
right,
Because
and it
also-
also doesn't happen
Yeah, I would say
every day.
you just don't know
They
when it
fall
doesn't
through
happen.
all the time.
Fall through
Yeah.
continuously.
Yes.
If you some houses you'll see like on
Right,
on Zillow
yeah.
or whatever feature or whatever platform you're looking at, it's
Yeah,
on market, off market,
yeah.
Right.
on office.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
seen a
I've
million
seen
of
a lot
those.
of
Okay,
those.
Yeah,
Then
Or-
it's back to on,
Right.
then pending,
Now,
then off, then on. Like
when I sat down with you guys at the first little meeting that we had, and
Yeah.
we went through about listing the house,
right.
then at the end of that conversation, I said to you, when we get our offers, this is what I do, right? Remember,
Yeah.
I said to you, I'm calling every single
Right.
loan
Right.
officer, I'm calling the mortgage brokers. I want to
Right.
know all the
we
details.
vet everybody for
yeah,
and I
every
said to you,
offer
you know,
that
it's
you
not
may be
something
considering.
Yeah,
that is going to be like, hey, sign this. Because
Right.
we have to talk to these
yeah.
people.
You're
We
not
have
just
to
going to
find
take the
out.
highest
And,
offer.
and
Yeah.
that's our job. We
Right.
give you
I mean,
as
we
much
almost
information
didn't
as
even
possible,
take the highest offer.
so
No.
you guys
Yeah.
can make the best decision because
Right.
it's your decision. You know,
Mhm.
remember, realtors
Ultimately,
don't
right.
make the
Right.
decision.
Right.
Right.
We're there to guide you. Here's
Yeah.
every offer you have. Here's the research we did on them.
Yeah.
We still can't validate the research because it's
Right.
just hearsay from
Right.
speaking to the lender.
Yeah.
But this is a lender we've dealt with, and we could
Right.
offer you those insights.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you have to pick it, and our job is to make sure you pick. You
Right.
have every option available and all the knowledge, so you can pick
Right.
the best for you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then the minute you pick,
Right.
then we turn into bulldogs, and
Right.
pit bulls,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I love it.
we get in there and
Well,
yeah,
and so we mentioned a little bit earlier, the price you mentioned around March was, just under 400,000.
Yes.
And we ended up listing at 430
Yes.
and
You-
sold
Yes.
for 450.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
we were
The
fighting
market
a little bit of the
did make
new
a little-
mortgage rate
Yep.
increase right at
Mhm.
that time.
Yep.
So
You're right.
it was kind of weird. We
A
had a
little
weird
softening
little.
of the
We,
It was
we
like
had a
perfect.
we had a
It
2-month
was a
softening
good-
when we
Yeah.
when,
Yeah.
when that price was kind of like where we should be.
Yeah.
And then also time was of the essence, so you can't get
Mhm.
too aggressive on pricing.
Right.
Right.
So because
Yeah.
And we had
Because
the
I feel
sale
like we
around
could
the
have even
corner.
listed for higher, and we're like, I want it to be in that good spot where it's like,
Right.
oh, this
Yeah.
is a good price
Well, we wanted
and a good
them-
house.
We needed this to be completed.
Right.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we didn't have
Yeah.
time.
We don't
to
have
wait.
time to
You wanted your
negotiate.
dream home.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Just buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Just buy the house. I don't care
There's a
for how
point.
much.
Well, there's a
Just buy
point.
the
It
house.
becomes a negative return because
Right.
Right.
if you're going to try to hold out for more money, there's a great chance you're going to lose what you love.
Exactly.
So
Right.
what is it worth to you? It's really
And
it
you're
all
paying a
comes down.
mortgage in that time too.
Yes.
You know?
So it all
Exactly.
comes down to what it's worth for the customer. It's I don't care. I want top dollar. When it sells, and we'll buy. Fine,
Right.
we got that. If you have
Yeah.
time, you can hold it. You don't have a commitment or a
Right.
new
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
No problem. You have a new job. You have to get there for schools.
Right.
Remember, there's millions of houses for sale in South Florida.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's somebody will come and they're going to buy or not.
Right.
They fall in love and the value proposition is there for them, and they end up paying
Right.
more than the
Right.
ask.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here. It's an amazing house.
But you did your work.
We
Okay.
did.
So like,
Your work.
I gave you a really hard list,
Mhm.
You did.
and you listened,
Yeah.
which is like
Right.
99% of
right.
getting
Yeah.
the house ready. Because
Yeah.
I can't do that for you.
Right.
What I can
Right.
do is market it,
Right.
Mhm.
reach out to these agents that
Yeah.
I know, make sure
Right.
that we have a good buyer, make
Right.
sure that the contract is legit,
Right.
all of that. But you guys did the hard lifting
Yeah.
and made this look amazing. So because of that, we were able to list higher,
Right.
Right.
able to sell higher,
Right.
and somebody's
Right.
getting an amazing house, and you
Right.
got your dream home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for all parties.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah,
And at
and-
least
and-
from our view, the buyers seemed great. When they came and
Oh, yeah.
viewed
Yeah.
it, like they
Oh,
were
yeah.
super.
They
super
fell in love
nice
with that. That
and-
was just
and
like you guys fell in
pleasant
love with your
and-
house. They
yeah.
loved your house. That's
Yeah.
like when I walked in here for the first time. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This house is gorgeous.
Oh my
The
God, it
layout.
was such the relief when you
Yeah.
guys
It
walked.
was-
When
It was
he goes,
so
if she
validating.
doesn't walk into this house and fall on the floor, I am gonna be upset. Or something
'Cause
like
I
that.
actually
I
didn't
was
come
like,
here
what?
until
Where am I?
photos, I think, for when we did photos.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was the
That
first
was the
time
first
you
time you
walked.
had seen it.
And I had to do the photos because we decided list now, and
Right.
Right now,
our
yeah.
2 good photographers were like 5 days out minimum.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was like, well, let me grab my old gear, and,
Right.
and we got some like
Yeah.
99% is good photos.
Yeah.
Even though I
Hey, it
sat
worked.
Photoshop for hours,
Yeah.
that night.
It worked.
But
That's all that
it
matters.
worked, and we had it up that night
Right.
by the end of the day. So it was you walk in, and I totally lost what I was going to say. But
You were
About
just
how
saying about
amazing it was.
how the house looked.
oh
right?
yeah, you walked in, and so like automatically, oh, someone's going to fall in love with this house.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's so
Right.
much special here.
Yeah.
Like it's cozy. You
Mhm.
walk in, and you have that foyer is really cool. You walk
Yeah.
through, and
Mhm.
you're just like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
And then the whole house is divided up perfectly.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah, great sized
Class.
rooms.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
it has
it's
how I
exactly
felt.
how-
Yeah, I
classic
told
Florida
her.
ranch
Totally.
house. It just
Yeah.
has
Yep.
so much to love. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Well, and
well,
it had been updated when we bought it, so the updates were only 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's still updated.
Yeah.
It's still current, thankfully. And
But that's part of the
Yeah.
like the background, like real estate geeky stuff. It's
yeah,
what your house has to offer determines where you're at the market.
Right.
Mhm.
Your house is as close to polished as you can get without like a
Right.
full remodel top dollar.
right,
So you're like 98% of the way there.
right.
So you get to command that
Yeah.
top dollar when
Well,
you
and then
when you
we
get the
didn't really
buyer.
know that because we've been in the house and like it just there's a lot of I mean, the fact is, even though that it's been remodeled, it was built in 1969. So there's all these like weird things that we'd find and we'd be like, oh, that's stupid. Or,
Right.
well, that's
Yeah.
annoying or whatever. And like, so to us, after being here for 5 years, that's all you kind of see
Right.
is
Yeah.
the things that drive you crazy, especially when you're on your way out. We're
And
ready to go.
The things
And so-
you deal with
Right.
Mhm.
instead of like
Or that you wish you had done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But all of
Yeah.
that's
And
just
so we see that, and you guys see like
no.
just what it
The
is
big
on
Yeah,
the
we,
service.
we,
have
we
fresh
see the
eyes.
value
Yeah.
proposition of
Right.
the property
Yeah.
immediately. And so being at the top is great, and you command top dollar and you get the extra.
Right.
So
Yeah.
everything you invested in came back
Right.
Mhm.
fully, if not
Totally.
more.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side, if you have a house that's just, I mean, like we just sold a house that was from 40 years ago, they moved in,
Mhm.
did nothing.
Right.
In the house, it built in 75. It's a
Mhm.
perfect house,
Yeah.
and nothing wrong with the house.
Right.
It just got a little crumbly
Right.
on the edges,
Yeah. Right.
original windows. I mean,
Right.
there's like, what?
It needed some
Original
love.
carpet
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the one
right.
bedroom.
Right.
So,
Clean.
yeah, the shag.
Right.
Perfectly clean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
But
think it ever got
Beautiful.
walked
I
on.
couldn't believe-
From
Right.
75.
But
Yeah.
from 75,
Right,
it was
from
green
70.
shag carpet, or classic Broward 1975
Yeah.
carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
with like paneling on the walls.
Yeah,
I mean,
with the
Yeah.
paneling on the walls. And
1970, it was like,
Right.
wow, you
yes,
hit the
Right.
lottery.
there
Right.
is
That room
somewhere
is
somebody
amazing.
paid 20 grand to remodel a room that way in the country currently.
Yeah.
But like,
Right.
but so like that house was great, and that house, you like a really common thing we do, that kind of house, you just market it on the lower end of the price scale
Right.
and make it an exceptional value with people being able to see the remodel ability.
Right.
And
Right.
so
And
just like
having
you guys
the
were at the
funds
top
to
end,
be
you got
able
the
to-
top dollar with that house. So when you price it properly
Yeah.
to where it should be for what's going on with it, people see the remodel value in it.
Right.
And then we sold that house for how much over?
40,000.
That was 40,000 over.
Wow.
And that was
Over
in the
list.
700,000 price range.
That's
So,
crazy.
so just having that experience to guide our customers, like, look,
Right.
here's some options,
Yeah.
because everything's time is money and value proposition. So
Right.
how long do you want to wait to sell your house? You're
Yep.
towards the top. We had that little trough of the dip from the interest
Right.
rates, and then we were kind of
Yeah.
coming out of it right when we actually did go live.
Right.
So that helped. And then you have the value, and
Mm.
then so we ended up going to where we did.
Yeah.
So and the same thing could happen even if you never improved one thing in the house.
Mhm.
You can still,
Right.
from our standpoint of marketing it, value proposition it in a way where
Right.
people can see the potential, and you still
Yeah.
get additional monies.
Well, and
Right.
just to pivot this into laser and business related, obviously it's business related for you guys because this is your business.
Yes.
But the time is money for one.
Yeah.
And pricing
as difficult as it is, it's so important.
Oh, it's
Pricing
so-
your product, which
Yes.
is
Yeah.
houses,
yes,
at the right rate attracts the right buyers.
correct.
Yeah.
And if you charge too much for a house, you're gonna have those difficulties. If you charge too little for a house, you're gonna have the people who expect more
Yeah.
than what they're, like, so our example is like, charging $25 for a handmade laser sign. The $25 customers are going to be the ones who nitpick everything, who, if it isn't perfect, they're going to have something to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And whatever. You sell that same sign to somebody for $60, $75, and they're going to think it's the most beautiful thing they've ever seen,
That's right.
because
Yeah,
it's a different
perception is
type of
everything.
person,
Yes.
different type of
That-
customer.
That's
Yes.
automobile
So-
marketing 101. That's what, Chevy has 15 lines in a series of one car,
Right.
and then you leave Chevy and you go to Cadillac and they have another 15. There's
Right.
a gradient for every single customer that possibly wants to buy a new vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the houses. It's you have to find that exact, is this house a Chevy? Is this house a Cadillac?
All right.
And is this top line
What's our
Cadillac
house?
or bottom?
What's this house?
This house right here.
Yeah.
This house?
It's a Cadillac.
This is
What's the one up there?
We buying a Bentley.
I was gonna say,
That's a
gonna say
Bentley.
you bought a
That's a
Bentley.
Bentley. Yeah.
I
That's
don't
a
even know.
Maybach.
I don't even
That's
know.
a- that's a
let us sell
Maybach.
your house and you could buy a Bentley.
Right? Yeah.
No, for
So,
real. And,
yeah,
and
I mean-
also, and
You might
also,
not have houses.
aside from helping to sell, when we were looking at those houses, we didn't just look at the houses. She drove around
The
like the neighborhood a little
neighborhood.
bit, like
Yeah, we
not
were
so
like-
far, but
We were
we're like,
going from one
why are
house
we
to
going
another, and
this
you're
way?
like, "Where is she going?"
and then like we'd be driving by, and I'd be like, man, the neighborhood seems it's not like
yeah,
here.
it wasn't like a bad
It's
neighborhood.
not here,
or
but it's like
anything.
like oh, they got a lot of cars in the front yard,
Yeah.
or like
a lot of junk outside.
like they're yeah, exactly. And
They need
you know,
to
as soon
keep
as-
their house.
as soon as I was like thinking that as we were driving out to the next
called.
house, she called. She's like, I don't like this neighborhood. I'm like, I was kind of thinking that too, because she also took property value and like where it would be,
yeah,
in the
Oh,
future as
yeah,
well
I mean,
Yeah.
of what we're buying
going
instead
through
of
the
just
whole
instead of just
nightmare
showing us
getting-
a house.
You're turning your life
Guys.
upside down, buying another
Right.
massive investment.
yeah.
You better make sure
Right.
there's some good upside for you.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I'm not
it would be
not to
horrible
knock,
not to.
not to knock when we purchased this house,
Yeah.
because same thing. I mean, I think most of the time when you're looking for a realtor, you're asking friends if
Yeah.
they know anyone. So it's
Right.
always like a recommendation.
Yeah.
So when we bought here, it was a recommendation as well. Really nice guy.
Yes.
He's cool as well, but he didn't do those like that.
Any of the
we just went to see the
extras.
house.
Yeah.
We went to see the house. We liked the house. He didn't have, I mean, I don't know what he did on the back end. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? When we were purchasing the house, but it didn't seem it wasn't communicated
Yeah.
as well.
Right.
It wasn't as transparent. So we just saw the house.
Yeah.
And then we went to the next house.
Well, that
we
comes
didn't
down
drive
to-
around. We didn't do
But
those
you need
little
to know, like, I
extras.
needed to know how far was Publix for you, how close
Right.
is the school
Right.
for you. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
well, what are we backing up to? Because what if that neighbor,
Right.
right, is
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
a landscape guy that
Mm-hmm.
Like runs the business out
runs
of
his
it.
Right.
business out of his
Right.
backyard, and
Right,
at
yeah.
4 a.m. he's got
Right.
loading his trailers and his backhoes
Yeah,
and all
right.
of that. Like,
Totally.
I needed to see. That's why, like, we left
Right.
the house and we drove through the neighborhood.
like
Right.
our previous,
But,
Like,
but
what
that's
we
but that's what
neighbors,
happened.
yeah.
Like, so with us specifically, like we met you guys, loved you. That's like, oh, I'm so excited to have them as customers.
Yeah,
right?
She came home and she's like, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be fun.
yeah.
Like,
But like, I care.
Yeah.
I want to make sure
Yeah.
it's perfect
yeah.
for you.
So
And it show- and it
but that's
shows.
what it is. So it's like I said, like it's not. You're not a customer. Like
Mhm.
it's like literally like we decided to
Right.
have you as
Be
a
friends.
client,
Right.
and that's because we
And now we're
liked
friends.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then if once like you,
Well, and as
we
you know,
knew
it's-
like you're
it-
like
It doesn't end as soon as both of the deals go
Oh, yeah.
through either. Like,
No.
okay, you sign your closing
Yeah.
papers. There's still stuff to do afterwards.
Yeah.
We
Well,
still have to
remember,
we have to get the
We're here still.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
still the
Yeah.
post
Hello, we're already
occupancy.
live.
Right. Yeah.
but
But, like,
that's what happens. Like
Yeah.
we fell in love with you guys.
Yeah.
Like I said, like we're sad. Like you
Mhm.
guys leave it. Like that's like
Right.
one of the bad parts of our job. Like
Right.
you fall in love and
Yeah.
you go
You
through
help
everything
us
together
go
and then
away.
you just disappear. You're like,
Right.
oh, it's like
Oh,
emptiness syndrome.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where like we're involved with that. Like you're like family to us. So
Yeah.
it's
Same.
hey, is there future value here, or do you have
Right.
an idiot landscaper neighbor?
Right.
And not that he's an idiot, but I
Right,
just don't
yeah.
want to hear his stuff. So it's,
Yeah.
like that's all part of our circle
Yeah.
once we're
And
together.
experience. Like, we've had
Yeah.
clients that have bought homes that
Yeah.
don't want to listen, and they're like, 2 years later, like, oh, we just can't handle the neighbors anymore.
Mm.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah, we've had
knew
it.
that.
Right.
You knew that
And
going in.
relist it 6 months later.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
That's
Well,
crazy.
we
not
love
doing
our
that.
neighbors.
Right?
We've
you
met
guys
our
have the
neighbors.
coolest
Yeah.
Oh,
neighbors
yeah.
now.
You guys actually make it
We
neighbors.
did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have awesome.
So it was funny because we go up and like we're touring the house. We're looking at the house after we had already signed. We came back to the house. We were wasting a couple hours before we did.
This was closing day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so we were
Before we had to go
waiting
to the
for
next daycare.
another daycare tour. And so we were just hanging out at the house, and we pull up, and she like was at the door, and he like waved at her, and she like came running
Yeah.
out, and she's like,
I
"I'm the
went to
nosy
go-
neighbor."
I went to go get
This
something
is
out of the
Heidi.
car. Yeah.
No, Amanda.
Amanda.
Right
Okay.
across the street. So I went to go get something out of the back of the car, and the garage door was I had to open it
Yeah.
because we actually parked in the garage for first time in like 5-6
Ever,
years.
yeah.
So we parked in the garage, but I can't open the trunk. So I opened the garage,
Uh-huh.
and as I'm walking out, I see her front door, which this was also different. They don't have they have the glass instead of the screen
Oh, like
door.
a storm door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her door was like open,
Oh,
Yeah.
which is here. It's
Oh.
like, oh, people.
front door's open.
Why do you
Yeah.
have your front door open?
Right.
That's so unsafe. But up there, so it was open, and the German Shepherd was like right at the door, and I'm like, oh, he's checking me
Yeah.
out, whatever. And then I closed the trunk because I think I was getting his wipes or his
Something, yeah.
his bag. And then when I look over, she's at the door.
Oh,
So I'm like, am I gonna be that guy? Just go about my day.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? We're
Right.
we're the new people.
Yeah.
So I just waved, expecting to wave back. She opens
She
the
goes
door.
running out the door.
She was looking for an excuse to come talk to us.
Totally.
Oh.
Nosy
So-
neighbors are great neighbors.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
They really are.
Yeah.
we talked to her. She was
You know,
amazing. Her
nobody's
husband's a
nothing to have with us.
firefighter.
Yeah.
And
cool.
then she was kind of giving us the layout
she
of the
goes- she goes,
neighbors.
We heard people were moving from
Miami.
Miami, and we were a little worried.
Yeah. And it was also nice, like same age range, because that was another worry.
Yeah.
Like, what is the? You
Right.
can only see so much
Yeah.
in like
Well,
what's the
and the
population?
median age up
Right.
there is a lot higher than it is down here.
right.
And
I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
56.
Yeah.
something.
And it's just great because you got to have some people with younger
gotta have
families
a
because you got
mix.
a young
Yeah.
family, so you have
Right.
to have kids on the street.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really important
Well,
thing
and
to
then-
look
yeah,
Same
for.
thing,
she,
same age.
So
Then
look,
she was giving us the rundown.
Yeah, she was
and
telling
then-
us who's like which neighbors and whatever.
who has
And
kids.
well, and then she
Mhm.
was also telling us how the previous neighbors that they weren't like not good or anything, but
didn't talk
they
to
were
you.
very quiet to themselves.
Yes.
And they're all friends like on the whole block.
Yeah.
And so
they have block
to
parties,
be
like,
to
every
be
week.
like
Yeah.
the one neighbor who's like they never go
We have a
outside
neighbor
or anything.
3 doors down, 20 years, never even a wave driving by.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right. And
Your
we
street
think
is
that
party
they were-
central,
yeah.
just so that you know. Like,
Hey,
I don't know if I remembered.
it seemed like it because
Yeah.
again, met them really quick. She gave us like the
She goes,
layout.
Your neighbors, Ron and Heidi. She goes, they have 2 dogs and a pig. And I go, oh, they have a pig. We were so excited.
Now my
'cause,
arms
like-
will be sore
Yes,
for
because if you
another
don't
week.
know,
Sorry.
if you don't
You
know,
don't know.
We have a pig.
We have a pig.
we got a pig.
Yeah, we have a pig.
And so we were
Which is also a consideration.
right.
It
well,
was
and
a
I, like,
worry. We
They
called the
were
city.
because
We
we called Vero and they were like, no pigs are allowed, and we're like,
Yeah.
shit, okay.
Yeah.
And then Sebastian, it was like they were allowed, at least according to their website, they were allowed, but there was like all these stipulations, and
yeah,
I'm
there were
like,
a lot of gray areas.
like
So,
one of them was like you had to have an acre of land, and I was like, we can't afford an acre of land, like what do you and so we were just like hoping we're good and like we don't get caught, honestly. And so when we got there and like our neighbors had a pig, and I'm like, well, is
If
like
they have a pig.
even if it's not allowed, at least they're not going to be the ones to rat us out because they
Right.
have
They
one
have a
too,
pig.
right?
And
So
if
I'm
somebody,
like, we're good.
and if
Because I'm
and
all
they come
worried
for
about
our pig,
yeah.
hey,
We're bringing
they
down
got
yours
that- they got one
too.
too.
and
So like we were,
Nice
you
to
know,
know your neighbor.
yeah, I was all worried about like where to put her. I was trying to put her, you know, like
Next to that.
away from them
Yeah.
so that just in case that, you know, because you never know, and I have a lot of trust issues. And so it just, you know, it was like,
Dude, it's good. You can have a little walk through of the fence, the pigs can
Right.
visit, hang out all day.
Right.
It's like perfect.
Yeah, so it was funny because we went back again later, and then the other neighbors were
Hiding.
home,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heidi and Ron, and so then they brought out their pig, Leroy
Leroy
Jenkins.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's huge, big boy, and
We might have piglets.
yeah, no,
No, ours,
she was
she's
fixed
Oh,
immediately.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, she was not nice. Her first heat, we didn't know she was in heat. Oh my god,
Yeah.
awful. We were like, take it all out. Take it. But so I was asking him, I was like, so wait, are they allowed? And she was like, yes, you can have one pig. And she's like, we used to have two. And I was like, okay, good to know.
We
And
like
then
that.
right.
One's enough,
And-
probably.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it is. And then that you're supposed to bring them inside for 10 hours a day or something like that. So
Yes.
just to
Yeah.
prove that like they're a pet.
Pet.
And she's truly a pet. And you know, it's hard to bring her inside because of the tile, because they can't
She used
walk.
to live inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she used
In
to be
Colorado.
inside 24/7.
Wow.
But yeah, so just like, you know, little stuff like that. It was like, oh, you know, it was great. And then I'm leaving. So we exchanged numbers with Amanda, and I'm talking about, oh, we want to paint the front door and the shutters because they're brown, and brown is like my least favorite color. Again, this is how you know how the house is good, because I'm nitpicking the color of the door and the
Yes.
So when
shutters
that's
because I
all that's
can.
left, when
Right.
that's all that's left to nitpick,
Yeah.
Right.
you have
Exactly.
I do want to
Yeah.
know, what are you going to paint the new front door?
I don't know, because the
Okay, 'cause I have a
problem
color,
is
so-
okay,
okay.
good.
Okay.
So the problem is I would love to paint the whole house, but it's not
brand
even a
new.
year old.
Oh, no, it looks
Exactly.
beautiful. I love
And so I
the
don't
color
want to.
scheme for
I
a
don't.
house. Get rid of the brown and that's it.
Right, and so that's in. This is just, like if I had like free money,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
Okay.
But I don't. So we're gonna paint the brown door and the brown shutters.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's
news to me.
What?
No,
No.
I didn't know we were going to.
Oh no, we are. I
Okay.
hate that color.
I know
hate
you
it so
wanted
much.
to.
Oh,
I didn't
no,
know
it's
we were
happening.
going to.
Mhm, it's definitely
Same.
happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, there's very, you
You're
know,
informed
obviously
now.
there's nothing wrong with
Get your
that.
memo.
But so I was talking about that, and she was like, "Oh, I know a painter," and we were
Oh.
talking about, "Oh, we need to add like a fence," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know so and so knows fencing," and then I was like, "Oh, you know, we need to add electrical in the garage," and she was like, "Yeah, our neighbor down there, he's an electrician." Like it's just
Yeah.
everything I said.
Yes.
They had like people, and you know,
Yeah.
like.
Awesome.
And that's just how it is out there. They all like have like oh, I know a couple electricians. I know a couple, you know, our next door neighbor, I'm pretty sure he's a plumber and a handyman. I know he's at
yeah.
least a handyman, but I also
I know
think
he's
one
a
of his,
handyman.
Yeah.
I think one of
There's
his
a
trucks
plumbing
says
truck, or maybe
plumbing
like his son
something.
or something.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Yeah.
So,
So
which is
like,
weird because Heidi did a transaction for me on another transaction like a year ago.
Oh.
And
our next door neighbor?
yes, and when
What?
yeah, because she works for a title company.
Oh.
So when I was there the morning waiting for you guys to come
Uh-huh.
through
Mhm.
the walkthrough, and the agent gets there and she's like, "Oh well, Heidi from so and so lives next door," and I was like, "Oh no way!" I'm like, "I know her from a
Huh.
previous
Oh,
transaction
wow.
that we did
Nice.
over in Loxahatchee."
That's
Wow.
a small world
Yes,
for
and
sure.
So she did the
It's so
Yeah.
small. The
And then
world is so
Amanda's-
small.
Amanda's mom lives next door to her,
Yeah.
and she works
Her
at the
par- her
school.
parents, yeah.
Her parents live next door, and she works at the school that JR is going to go to.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
First grade.
See how cool this is.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yes.
all it's
Yeah, it's
all
just crazy.
amazing.
Like South Florida, everybody like you can have everyone's kind of like in their cocoon,
You stay to
Yeah.
yourself.
and everybody.
We don't know
works.
anything of our name. Like,
No, I mean
we know,
I
like,
wave,
one
I
and a
wave
half
to
names.
Yeah,
people.
but like
A few.
everybody,
That's-
everybody here
but not
works
even
for
everybody.
like a
No.
company or a big
Right.
service provider,
Yeah.
and they don't like they're
or
not
work
little,
several jobs,
yeah.
or
and so
yeah.
they're not like doing the neighbor's plumbing next door, even if they're a
Exactly.
plumber. Like
Yeah.
Right.
you don't have those little
Right.
Niches.
tight knit
Right.
Yeah.
neighborhoods, and
Exactly.
here here
Here,
it's just
like,
hi, how you
it's
doing?
very common to
And-
work for yourself and
Yes.
to
and
have
help
like
your
a blue
neighbor.
collar job and
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
over and help and like
Yeah.
I mean Heather and Bud got the laser moved in by two people they
I
had just met
I
from
know.
his
I know.
job at the time.
Yes.
So
It
yeah,
was
it's just like
perfect.
yeah.
I
We got,
can't-
we got
I can't wait.
babysitters across the street.
Yeah. Oh, and then she goes, they have two girls in high school. One's like a junior, and I think one's a senior. And she was like, "Oh, they love babysitting. So if you need a babysitter," we're like, "So next weekend."
Say less.
Man, full service. Like, it was like a 5-star resort.
Yeah,
Go to
right.
dinner next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find the next house available on the street and buy it.
For real.
Yeah, I
Good
told you, we
Lord.
gotta move.
Yeah.
telling you,
Although
yeah.
I think she's not gonna like this because she just said we gotta paint the thing. I gotta get a boat. You just have to.
Well, you did buy
It
I
is
have
a
to get a
very,
boat.
it's a very boat.
I have to buy a
it
boat.
is.
There's nothing I
Everyone
can
has
do.
a
No,
boat
but
on the
everyone
street.
else has a boat.
But we don't. Yeah, so we
Right.
exactly.
I
That's
have to
what
buy
I
a boat.
said. Yeah. No.
No, do the marina rental.
Everybody has
do the
one.
marina
We'll
rental.
rent
I have to-
Heather's.
Yes.
I have to buy a boat.
We will
No.
rent Heather's.
Okay.
The best day of buying a boat is the day you sell it.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
everyone has a boat in the community.
No.
Oh, we did that. Yeah, don't.
No. No.
Buy another pig, it'll be funner.
Yeah. No. We'll just join one of their boats. You know,
Okay.
we can
It's better with
change
friends.
boats. Exactly. And we'll even throw them a
We'll
couple
boat-
dollars
we'll
if they
boat
need
hop.
them. But yeah, we
Boat
can
hop.
boat hop. We can
boat
rent
hop. Just offer to pay for the day on the water.
Yeah, yes,
$200-$300, and you'll be
Exactly.
so far
Yes.
ahead. You'll be.
Yes.
You can go
Buy
to
gas.
Disney every week.
Yep.
All right.
Spoken
Well,
from experience.
We'll rent
Yes.
Heather's boat.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's it. You
Yeah.
buy gas for the boat,
Uh-huh.
and you're good. You don't have to store it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
Yeah,
have to
I
pay
I
for
saw
it.
Diva boat sales.
Who's that next up?
Tired of your boat? I saw it.
So, do you guys do any like business transactions? Do you buy any like business buildings, or is it all like?
We do commercial.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, a
Interesting.
little bit of commercial.
Yep.
We do a lot of, we call it retail real estate with just direct clients and
Okay.
properties.
Yeah.
We own a couple little doors,
Mm.
not much, but just a little extra.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
yes, and
Cool.
4plexes, 3plexes. That's a lot of people want to get out of that world. They don't want renters anymore.
Mm.
Yeah.
We do a lot
It's
of
kind
those.
of like boats. People buy a 4 or 6plex and like
Mhm.
time to become
Yeah.
the guy on YouTube talking about how much money he's making with
Oh,
renters.
right.
Right.
And 3 years later, he's breaking even and has 18 horrible scenarios going on.
Right.
And time to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have to
break that down.
then we have to
Right.
break that down, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because, like you said, on YouTube and now on Shorts, they're always talking about rental properties and how
Yeah.
to get and
Well, yeah.
get into
There's a good
them.
way. There's a right way to do
there's
it
a
too.
right way,
Probably.
and it's called when you're financially stable enough
Right.
to where if you buy it and it blew away, you wouldn't care.
Right.
That's the way to do it, because
Yeah.
if you do it, leveraged
Too
out,
early. Yeah.
you can make it or you could eat it. There's
Right.
no in between. And if you eat it and it takes your entire world, is it worth it?
Right.
Right.
You got to weigh those things.
Yeah.
So it's really awkward. And a lot of this stuff you see is all clickbait, I think, out there.
Yeah.
We have customers, and we had a customer that I could afford like $1.2 million, and I want to
Mhm.
buy, what was it, like a 4plex?
Yeah,
He wanted a 4plex, and we had known him from a previous transaction, and
Mhm.
we're like, all right, well, we'll just go shopping. Normally we vet our customers too to make
Right,
sure they
yeah.
can actually afford it. And we're like,
right.
well, we'll just give them the day anyways, and we're going to be in that area. So we went shopping. We're talking about leveraging up to $1.5 million and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, cool. So, day 2, it's like he calls and it's time to vet all this. All right,
Yeah.
who's your mortgage?
Right.
Oh, I don't have one yet. That's what the computer said. Oh, great. All right, well,
Oh.
okay. So to our mortgage guy,
Right.
2 weeks go by, finally gets in the paperwork. And in the meantime, up to the end of 2 weeks, it was just nonstop talk about the investment
Yeah.
and how much we're going to make. And,
Yeah.
he's going to become a literal,
Right.
investment
Multi-millionaire.
multimillionaire. And then he starts referencing a couple of people on
YouTube.
Insta and
Mm,
YouTube,
yeah.
and you're just like, oh dear. And then here comes the mortgage guy. Like, what's he qualify for? And it was like $400,000.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And this customer, this potential customer, who
Right.
we did like a lot,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
felt horrible. Like,
Right.
it ended up that way for
Yeah,
him.
because it crushed
yeah,
his dream. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, people get on to YouTube at midnight and watch
Right.
that till 2 a.m. when they're like half asleep, and
Right.
they're fantasizing,
Right.
oh, this is all it takes
Right.
to become a millionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Right. Fast
That's
money.
not reality.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so
You
that's
can't buy
Right.
something with
Well,
1% down.
Which is
Right.
also why we had that initial meeting with you, and it was
Yes.
like, hey, listen, what do
Yeah,
you think
can
we
we
can
even
sell
do
this
this?
house
So
for?
before we
and
even
Yeah,
can
what was
we
the
even
first
buy-
thing we did? Get with
a mortgage broker.
Right.
Yeah.
mortgage broker.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right, because
Yeah.
I mean, you want to move, but is it like? And we did that when we were coming down here. We
Yeah.
met with a real estate, my brother's friend,
Yeah.
and we're like, listen, we want to come back down. This is what I'm potentially gonna make.
Yeah.
She's not gonna work. Are we living a fantasy world,
Right.
or is this something we can do?
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Can we
And at
afford
the
it?
time,
Yeah.
he's like, it's gonna be competitive
Right.
because everyone is in that area.
Right.
Right.
So he's like, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's gonna be hard.
Right.
Right.
It's gonna be hard to find something.
and that's
And that's
So
kind of
that's
you
where
have to have that information.
You
Right.
have
Yeah.
to know that. So
Right.
the market is hot right now as well,
Right.
just like it was right after COVID happened.
Mhm.
Right.
So when I'm working with buyers right now, I am prepping them for look.
Yeah.
If this is the house that you want, now we had a little bit of a different
Right.
circumstances
Yeah.
because those people they needed to leave.
Right.
He was
Out.
transferred.
Right.
He
Yeah.
had to get out.
Right.
We saw it in the price reduction.
Right.
Conversations I had
Yeah,
with the
that was
agent.
time is of the
Right.
essence,
That
right?
Yeah.
He
that
needs to
was
move, so you
perfect,
lower
okay?
the price to
Yeah.
where it
So
goes immediately.
like I knew
If we
had
would have got it
leverage.
when we wanted it, we would have paid 12,000
No, you wouldn't have.
more for well,
No, you wouldn't.
maybe.
That's what
Yeah.
the numbers
There would
say.
have been a substantial chance it would have been less.
Right,
with
yeah.
Beth.
Yeah.
But when if it's just a random buyer
Yeah.
coming in off of YouTube,
Right.
off of whatever, I vet them because
Mhm.
they have to understand that this market is insane.
Right.
We are
Right.
going to wind up paying over asking on most deals.
Right.
We
Right.
might be able to negotiate off on an inspection or something like
Right.
that. But a really good house is going for more.
Right.
I mean, since
Yeah.
the beginning of the year, every
Yeah.
single listing, every single purchase has all been over, with the exception of yours.
Right.
It's busy.
Yeah.
People
Right.
want to be in Florida.
Yeah.
It
Well, and so
doesn't matter
my
where they
mom,
go. Yeah.
she's running into she lives on the West Coast,
Okay.
and they just got hit by the
Last
hurricane.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she has a literal hole in her roof. Like,
Yeah,
it's not a big
that's
one,
not
but she has a hole in her
Right.
roof. And she was, she wants out because now she's stuck with the negative side of HOAs.
Yes.
And like, she's not allowed to even tarp her own roof because the roof is their responsibility.
Correct.
But then the hard part is if they tarp it incorrectly or not well, then water's going to come into her house and cause damage inside.
No, they cannot prevent her. Just so you know, there is a rule that they cannot prevent her from doing that roof.
Well, so there was a guy in
Okay.
her same neighborhood who did that like fancy shrink wrapping because he was sick of the
Uh-huh.
work that they were doing.
Yeah.
And so he's obviously trying to protect his asset, which is
Correct.
everything on the inside. And they told him if he did, that they would eliminate him from the litigation.
No,
Of-
he needs an attorney
Yeah. So
because
they cannot. And the
tell
hard
him.
part out there on that side of the where the houses are, the realtor that she used to use, they're struggling to close deals because by the time it gets to the end, the interest rates, if you hadn't
Of
locked
course.
them in,
Yeah.
they go up, and then now they no longer qualify
That's
for their the
Price point.
home
Correct.
by the time it gets to closing period.
Absolutely.
So, it's like this
that's why
whole
it's
beast.
it is a beast. It is a full circle of
Yeah.
disaster if it's not taken care of on day one. So,
Right.
for example, when you spoke to the mortgage broker,
Yeah.
you were not locked in. We were not
Right.
under contract. But as
Yeah.
soon as you went under contract, you were then able to lock in your rate.
Right.
Even though your rate was slightly higher,
Right.
we had already talked about the range of what
Right.
if the rate goes to this and what if the rate
Are they
goes
still
to this.
qualified?
Mm.
Right.
Will
Yeah.
you qualify for that
Yeah.
house? Can
Yeah.
we make this happen? And
Right.
he came back to us and told us what our numbers need to be on here,
Right.
which
Right.
was a big part of why we list it where we list it,
Right.
knowing that, okay, we are going to lock in
Yeah.
at this rate. You need to have X amount to have
Yeah.
this payment. To do
Right.
Oh, and then
this,
the
to
other
do that.
thing that is happening out there, because if it was the West Coast that was actually hit by the hurricane, another thing that was happening was they would get to the end and they can't get insurance. on the house.
Right.
And so then the whole deal just falls apart because
Yep.
they can't get insurance on
Right.
the house.
Yeah, it's
And
a mess over
so,
there.
yeah, it's been, I
And
feel so
again-
bad for her because they want out and they want a home that has a roof that's not like, that's complete. And
Well,
yeah,
That's-
I will help her.
That's
Okay.
that's another part of Florida as a whole. The
Yeah.
whole country is trying to move here.
Yeah.
Leaving
Right.
COVID crazy states.
Well, and all the insurance companies are trying to leave.
All the insurance companies.
Because of the
are trying to
insurance,
leave.
They're like,
exactly.
I'm
So-
ready to go
For the
out. And everyone's
hurricane.
like, but I'm coming.
So, all over the internet, it's like the impending implosion of the Florida housing market.
Mhm.
Oh,
But it's
really?
not.
No,
Yeah.
No,
because there are people from 8 states moving here every day
Right.
nonstop.
Yeah,
The
one of
number
our offers was from New York, right?
Most of them were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
most. Yeah, I think of.
Yeah,
what-
and no joke, it's California tags, it's New York, it's Virginia.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
take a
little
drive
bit of
down the street
Connecticut,
right now.
Right.
That's all you see is Virginia,
Yeah.
California,
And
even
a lot-
Texas is
I was
pouring
gonna
into
say a
Florida.
lot of
Mm.
Texas.
Tons of
Interesting.
Texas customers.
Because they
Texas
mirror
clients.
our
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But they're
Politics.
even cheaper than us.
yeah,
Yeah.
so in
But
Like-
Texas, there's a lot because there's a lot of businesses that have been moving from
Oh.
Texas to
Mm.
here,
Mhm.
which is interesting. And so they're
Yeah.
coming like in
Mhm.
droves.
Yeah, I think-
I mean,
Yeah.
Texas.
She
is a
won't go
big-
to Texas.
I'm not
yeah,
gonna-
I've
like
heard it's not as great. Florida, if you're going to be hot, Florida is way better.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the whole country's still moving here.
Yeah.
And we saw work. I mean, we had transactions happen in 21 where we're at the dining room table at an open house with 4 people bidding against each other, and the seller is literally accepting a contract, and we do the paperwork on the spot. End up
Yeah.
repping both sides of the deal, and it's like
Wow.
that was insane. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a bidding war in the guy's dining room
Right.
on a house that was like $1.5 million almost, and we ended up like 250,000 over the ask price.
I mean,
Wow.
Because
people
these people-
crying, carrying on,
my
running out
God.
I mean,
the
and
doors.
the buyers were from California. COVID craziness was in the
Yeah.
middle. It was in
Yeah.
the middle of COVID pandemonium,
Yeah.
lockdowns, you name it.
Because I wanted to ask.
And
I want to ask them about like how the heck did you, because what comes up a lot on our podcast is getting through COVID and like selling homes during COVID. I can only imagine it was just even more
was-
difficult.
It
It
was
was-
more difficult, and I just had the attitude of I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Like my clients need houses, I have to go to
Mhm.
work.
it's not bad because it's kind of controlled. Like
Yeah.
we air out the house, open the front
Right.
door,
Yeah.
have even during we did a couple open houses,
Mhm.
not at the immediate peak. Once we
Right.
kind of realized like 9
Yeah.
months in, like okay, we're
Right.
kind of going to survive.
Yeah.
We come in, open all the windows, air the house
Mm.
out, kind of leave it
Lysol.
open. We
Yeah.
Lysol the air down.
Do it in
And-
sections.
Yeah,
like, all the 2 parties.
Well, and
We
then
would
on the
only allow
news,
2
you would
families
see
to
how
come
like
in.
there'd be like literally a line of
Mhm.
people like
Yes.
Yeah.
waiting to
So
like,
we were trying to control like you couldn't have 20 parties in a house at the
Right.
same time. You know,
Yeah,
so
it's just
we would
2
wait,
groups of people, only
groups of
2
people,
families.
One
or
go to the left, one go to
Yeah.
the right. You know,
Wow.
kind of like do the
everyone
circle
wore
of
a
the
mask.
house,
It was
put the
it was
mask
pretty
on.
it was pretty chill.
Yeah.
It wasn't
good.
like it wasn't stressful like having to go
Yeah.
to the doctor's office where you're like I'm
Right,
gonna get
yeah.
sicker and
Mhm.
Right,
from,
exactly.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
And I
you
mean,
know,
a
we
lot of
worked
the
through it.
stuff that you do is behind the scenes, like on the phone and emails anyway.
Yes.
So there's not a ton that's like in person.
right.
yeah. Well,
So-
COVID also helped with that because COVID turned everything into all
Yes.
digital all
Yes.
the time.
All
Right.
digital, everything.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we could do closings on
Yeah.
a Zoom.
I mean, I was
I love
surprised.
that they like that there's so many more options to like take stuff with you. Like when you can order from a restaurant and take a drink, like
I
a
know, right?
alcoholic beverage
I know,
with you.
it's
I've never
so
done
cool.
it, but it's like cool that that's
Well,
a thing
it was
now.
it was cool
And then
at
like
how
they
many.
they leave your food at the doorstep now, and you don't even have to talk to them. Like just little things like that. Like that, I love that.
It's
I'm
like,
like,
food is now Amazon
Yes.
Prime.
yes.
Yes.
It was like just how many more things you could get like
Yeah.
delivered with no
Right.
contact. Like okay,
Well, how many documents we were able to sign
Just
via
on-
email
Yeah.
and stuff was amazing in its
Was-
own.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
'Cause-
everything comes to your phones
Yeah.
yeah,
and it's instant. You
Yeah.
click, you do your
And it's like she
signature.
would sign, I would sign,
Yeah.
and then
And
it's like
back to
on
me
to
in
the
2
next.
minutes. As I'm texting
Yeah.
you, hey, I
Right.
need your signature.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Because
Yeah.
Done.
that's the world today. It's like the
Mhm.
concept of driving to a Walmart for a product does not exist anymore.
no.
It is,
Yeah.
I click Amazon.
Even then,
and
if you do,
if
you
they
can
don't
still
have
do
it-
curbside.
Yeah.
I can, if I really have to drive there, they can meet me outside.
Right. Yeah. So it's just,
If you
it's
really
the
have
same
to sell
thing.
a house, I
It's-
can send it to you
Yeah.
via email.
I mean, we in construction back in the day, we had customers where All we did was never spoke on the phone once. All text communication.
Yeah.
Final day of the job, check sitting on the countertop
That's crazy.
with a text saying, "Thank you so much. You guys are amazing." Never met the customer. Did $8,000 worth of work in the house, and literally the checks there with $100 tip.
Right.
And all I did was text. I never once had a phone call with the
Yeah.
person. And it happened probably 4 or 5 times. Never
crazy.
met the person. Our reputation and, having gone through the neighborhood with hundreds of other customers allotted us that because how good we were.
Right.
But it was like literally like, all right, well, sounds good. You did so-and-so's house. I want the same exact thing. How much? Sounds good. Okay, great. When can you do it? Okay, great. Sounds good. Let me know when you're coming.
Right.
All right, keys there under the mat for you. Keep it for the week. And Friday, here's the check. Have a great day. Goodbye. Thank you.
Right.
Need a referral, let me know. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
Right.
I didn't even see the person.
Yeah.
And they gave me their house.
Yeah.
And whatever
Right.
else was in it
Yeah.
for a week. And then they gave me a check. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's fun.
You gotta have the right people in your corner, and
Yeah.
then
Oh, always.
once you do, like you're golden.
You
Yeah.
don't let them know.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions for them?
No, that's it. Just thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it was fun
everything.
just,
so welcome. So
for
much fun to go
everything
through this.
and-
You're the last podcast, the
Here.
last one in
my
the studio.
goodness.
Technically, it'll be
Well-
like out of order, like when we post them.
Right.
But
Well,
'Cause
this isn't
one
the
that-
last. This isn't the last one that airs from. The
no,
studio.
that's what I mean. But
this
they're
is
the last,
The last
like,
recording.
The
Yeah,
last
last recording.
So
last
recorded-
in-person.
Yeah. So we recorded.
Yeah.
We recorded our
Thank
next
you.
podcast yesterday,
Yeah.
Okay.
and now we're
Yeah,
recording
so we
this
can
one.
have them ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
math.
It's
Math is hard.
It is.
But this is our last
Thank you.
recording here.
Yeah.
And
I
thank
messed
you guys.
And we purposely had you on so that we could announce that we're moving because we've held it from
Yes.
because
It's been
a
really
lot
hard.
of moving.
I've almost
It's like a
slipped
pregnancy.
A few
You don't want to
times.
say
Yes,
anything too
right.
early. You
Yep.
don't want to say things.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to make sure everything's done, and then
It was
be
so
like,
funny.
hey,
I wouldn't even send my mom, like, because I'd like, to certain people, I'd be like, okay, so we're moving, and a lot of people knew that we had been thinking of it, but like, no, it's for real happening
No,
now,
this
because
is
that's
like
way
real.
different,
Yeah,
right?
but and remember,
And-
it's your decision and your family
Right,
and your life.
yeah.
So those
Right.
third party influences,
Right,
we've seen
exactly.
stuff.
We don't,
No,
you know, you don't
we've seen
want
people
it.
go
Like,
under
it's
contract,
stressful
and
enough.
Mother-in-law comes in and is like,
Mhm.
"Why would you buy this house?"
Right. And
they're-
that, yeah, we
they're
weren't worried
crushed.
about
Their
any of that.
biggest life
100%.
decision.
Yeah.
Crushed.
especially if you, how's it one of those things that you like walk in, you fall in love, you
Right.
like
Right.
Yeah.
whatever,
Very
and then
personal.
it's like, oh,
yeah.
that, like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Expensive.
yeah.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then it
No.
ruins your entire. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
So-
a big
We tell
experience
people, in
because you're
fact-
moving your business.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
This is more, and remember we talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so
We
all right,
had to find a
had
house
to
that
find-
was like
Good.
Worked.
Right,
yeah,
right.
cohesive with the business.
right, yeah, or,
And so
yeah.
yeah, I'd finally tell her like what we're doing, and she's like, "Oh, send me the link." And I was like, "No, I think we either weren't under contract yet or something." I was like, "No, we need to wait." And she was like, "I'm your mom," and I'm like, "I don't care." I was like, "I'm sorry, I do not want to jinx this." And the more
are you
people,
buying my house?
Right.
Yeah, and bought
I go,
out.
I love you. I understand, because I would ask the same question. I was like, but I gotta wait until we're under contract.
Yeah.
And then I think once we're under contract, I finally sent it to her.
Aw.
And then like some of our like laser friends, they kind of knew, and they're like, "Oh, send us pictures, send us the link." And I was like, once we
Yeah.
close, I'll send you. So like they
Yes.
knew all of
Good
it, but like I
idea.
Yeah.
wouldn't send them like, I'd only give like
Well,
a
that's why
little
we
bit of
tag you.
information, to certain
And at the
people. Yeah.
since we
Oh
were
my god,
already-
it was so funny, Mindy.
Uh-huh.
So she goes, I told her, I told, they again knew that we were like looking and whatever, but they didn't know like how serious it was. And so then, when it was like official, I texted them all and I'm like, all right, it's official. Like we closed on our house, we closed on both houses. Like, we're moving to Sebastian. And she's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I go, Mindy commented on the one that you posted, like of my house. You
Yes.
posted a picture
But
of
I
my
post-
house.
I did.
Right.
But I posted me in the picture.
She's been to my house. She knows what my house looks like. And she commented on the house. And I go, Mindy, do you know that you commented on Beth's post of my house when she sold it? And she was like, oh, no way. She didn't realize like that. She was like, oh, that's
Right.
awesome. And she had no idea that like it was my house that you were talking
Yeah, and
about. So,
a lot of people knew we were thinking about it because at the conference we had already talked and we had already planned after the conference
that's
to
what we
post.
needed to do when we
So
got
that's
home.
Right.
we
Yeah.
told a lot of people there that like
Right.
we're looking to move.
Yeah.
Like that's
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know, sorry we didn't tell you guys.
Right.
But
Now you know.
yeah,
Right.
now you know.
We kind of
But
did, yeah.
A lot of people that
You can
watch
send your
were
gifts
also
now to the house.
also-
Right. We will be accepting, housewarming gifts
Just
at
send it through-
the new
Just send it
address.
through what is it,
Patreon?
PayPal, Patreon, yeah.
Patreon.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
So we were like,
Yeah.
and then it's hard because, we closed Friday. And so now since Friday, it's been this like telling people, and they're like,
Yeah.
wait, when are you moving? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
next week.
And they're like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah.
they're like, because like we're actually gonna have a couple people over, but there's a ton of people who can't come because we told
Right.
people like Wednesday
Last
or
minute,
Thursday
yeah.
or today,
Yeah.
and because this is literally the last weekend we're here,
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
and so it's
So when
it's-
this
it's-
airs,
yeah,
we would
We'll already be
we're
up
moving.
there.
No, we're moving. The movers are coming when this airs,
Yeah.
because this airs on Friday.
mhm.
Yeah.
So the movers are coming.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Like, yeah.
This is so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. We've already been up there like 3 times.
I'm
Yeah.
actually I'm kind of disappointed because you're leaving. So
Oh, Griff is sad.
Well, we'll have an extra
You
room
can
for a
come
little
to the
bit.
party again today if you want
Find the house
to.
I
next
was like,
door.
oh, the transaction's over. Oh, you start hanging out. We're
Right?
into audio and video too now for work.
I- right,
Oh, there's
I
so
know.
much to talk about. It's like, oh, they're leaving. Oh my god, we're just starting to hang out.
That's
Yeah.
why
Well,
we're
we,
moving.
well, we can
Right.
we can still hang out if you guys need any help, audio, video wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a guy, you got a friend.
I know.
Yes.
I know
He'll
a guy.
come. Yep.
Well, now you
Yep.
have
No,
2
no.
people you have to come visit anytime. You come.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
want to say hi to Heather, now you
Yep.
have to come say hi to us
Yes,
on the
yeah.
street.
I can't sneak through here. No.
We'll be plenty of trips up and down the
Yeah.
coast to Orlando. It's
Right.
okay. Just stopping you.
Well, and that's the best part about where we're at is like, if you go to Disney or literally almost anywhere north,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
come
Or
on
a
by.
stop.
Well, I'm really thinking
Yeah.
about putting a business, an office over by you, and then I can
Oh.
service
If you
all
need
of South
anybody to
Florida.
help
Yeah,
with-
we're between there and like East
Doing
Orlando.
showings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I have a
I
showing
got
agent.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Is that like a thing?
Oh yes, it's a
It
thing.
is?
Yes.
Oh, showing
It's a job?
agents?
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
job.
What do they do?
Showing personnel.
They
Showing
show houses. Show
That's an
Oh,
actual
okay. We'll
job.
talk about this after.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right,
Well,
now you have plans.
so we are moving north today. Today we are moving north.
Today.
When this airs, yeah.
When this airs, we are moving up to
Yes.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
So that's the big secret. Thank you guys for watching, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, subscribe now.
Yes.
And that's been another great episode of the Rally Bear Project. Crystal and John.
Bye.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.